Hi everyone, and welcome to the garage. Today we're tackling a common issue on the Lexus RX350, replacing the rear shock mount. If you've been hearing clunking noises from the rear suspension, especially over bumps, or notice a general deterioration in ride comfort, a worn-out rear shock mount could be the culprit. It's a vital component that helps absorb vibrations and keeps your ride smooth. This job is definitely manageable for the DIY enthusiast, and we'll walk you through each step. First, let's talk about safety and tools. Always prioritize safety. You will need a reliable jack, sturdy jack stands, a wheel chocks, a socket set, a wrench set, a torque wrench, a pry bar, and possibly a breaker bar for stubborn bolts. Safety glasses and gloves are also recommended. Begin by parking your vehicle on a flat, level surface. Engage the parking brake. Loosen the lug nuts on the rear wheel you'll be working on, but do not remove them yet. Now, jack up the rear of the vehicle and place jack stands securely under the frame. Never work under a vehicle supported only by a jack. Once the vehicle is safely supported, you can fully remove the wheel and set it aside. Next, you need to access the top of the shock mount. This typically means opening the rear hatch or trunk. In the RX350, you'll likely need to remove some interior trim panels to expose the top of the shock tower. Use a trim removal tool to carefully pry off any plastic clips or panels. Be gentle to avoid breaking them. Once the trim is off, you will see the top of the shock shaft protruding through the chassis, with a nut holding the shock mount in place. Before unbolting anything, support the lower control arm or the suspension assembly with a second jack or a block of wood to relieve tension on the shock. This makes removal much easier and safer. Now, locate the lower shock bolt that connects the shock to the lower suspension arm. Use your socket and wrench to loosen and remove this bolt. It might be tight, so a breaker bar could be useful here. With the lower bolt removed, you can now focus on the upper mount. From inside the trunk, use a wrench to loosen and remove the nut on the top of the shock shaft. Carefully guide the entire shock absorber assembly out from its mounting points. Once the shock is out, you can clearly see the old shock mount. It usually sits on top of the shock shaft, sometimes with a washer and a bushing. Remove the old mount from the shock shaft. Inspect it for cracks, tears, or excessive wear. Now, take your new rear shock mount. Install it onto the shock shaft in the correct orientation, making sure any washers or bushings are in their proper place. Secure it with the new nut provided, or the old one if it's in good condition, but don't fully tighten it yet. Reinstall the entire shock absorber assembly. First, guide the top of the shock and its new mount into the upper mounting hole in the chassis from inside the trunk. Then, align the lower part of the shock with its mounting point on the lower control arm. Insert the lower shock bolt and hand tighten it. Once both the upper and lower bolts are in place, you can fully tighten them. Use your torque wrench to tighten all bolts to the manufacturer's specified torque settings. This is crucial for safety and proper function. Replace any interior trim panels you removed in the trunk, making sure all clips snap back into place. Reinstall the rear wheel, hand tighten the lug nuts, then lower the vehicle carefully until the wheel just touches the ground. Torque the lug nuts to specification in a star pattern. Finally, lower the vehicle completely and remove the jack and jack stands. Double-check all your connections and bolts. Take your vehicle for a test drive to ensure everything feels right and the clunking noise is gone. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope this guide was helpful for your Lexus RX350 rear shock mount replacement. If you found this useful, please hit that like button, leave a comment if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe for more DIY automotive repair tutorials. We appreciate your support.